Okay, I'm now going to talk about very important subject, but very few people talk about is sleep. How important is sleep to you? And because of the importance of sleep, I will kind of go through what we need to go through, some of the statistics, and why we need to have the sleep. Okay, so the sleep also consists part of the circadian rhythm. So in the morning, in the daytime, our brain fires up and keep our body running in tip-top conditions and back and forth, doing all kind of daily activity. When the right condition comes and the right time comes, the brain actually signals to our body to say that I need to rest for a while, okay? And then the person will go to sleep. And usually before sleep, patient goes through some kind of ritual, like brushing your teeth and all that, and then change to pajama and go to sleep for around 6 to 7 hours or more, sometimes 8 hours. During this normal sleep, many things changes in the brain. And we know one thing is that it has a restorative activity. It starts recovering all the normal activity or the excessive activity our brains has. And we become more energized and recharged and able, once we wake up, we're able to do another day. But this normal process are often what we call interrupted. We don't sleep enough. And when we don't sleep enough, we end up having medical problems that we don't realize. Okay, not getting enough sleep changes our metabolic symptoms. For example, if you miss one night's sleep, you become pre-diabetic. Your insulin resistance become less sensitive. The insulin receptors say less sensitive to insulin, and you crave for sugary type of food, and that exacerbates your diabetic if you have diabetic conditions. If not, it predisposes you to diabetic. So many immune system, many other things changes during the sleep. A good example would be our body secrete a certain hormone during early part of the morning, like the growth hormone, the serotonin, which is the happy hormone, and also sleep hormone, melatonin. Okay, all these have to secret in synchrony with our sleep so that you have a 24-hour circadian system that is attuned to the local time of your. What most people don't realize, the sleep, it has lots of things to do with our anxiety, mood-related disorder, and even Alzheimer's. So people who don't sleep very well, or I should put it the other way around, people who are all kind of mood disorder don't sleep very well, do not rest their brain. And because of that, their problem compounded day out. Okay, so to have a good sleep, you have to have three things. One, you have to sleep well, you have to have proper diet, and also exercise. And if all these things get together and you sleep properly, you'll have a refreshed mind the next morning. So what we need to know, well, how much do I need to sleep? How do we have study to show that do I sleep 12 hours? Okay, is it sleeping 12 hours better than sleeping 5 hours? We have some study statistics on that to say that most people, not everybody, most people need around 7 hours of sleep. 7 hours. People who sleep 7 hours live longer than people who sleep less than 7 hours or 6 hours or less. Or for people who sleep 8 hours or more. So sleeping too much is no good either. Okay, so 7 hours is what we need. But unfortunately, 40% of US, everybody walks around drowsy in the morning, which means that they don't sleep well at nighttime. And 15–30% of teenagers don't get enough of 8.5 hours sleep. Teenagers need a lot more sleep than adults. So adults 7 hours, teenagers or even younger 8.5 hours, even toddlers even longer, 12 hours. So sleep is important, and yet at the same breath, most people dismiss sleep as I don't need that. I can skip on that. Okay, but that's not the case. If you don't sleep well, you have all kind of problem. So it's not safe or wise to ignore sleeping improperly. Unfortunately, also you'll see the people who are very concerned about health. They don't smoke, they don't drink, they exercise properly, they don't eat junk food. They dismiss sleeping as unnecessary. In fact, they say, I don't need too much sleep. 2 hours all I need. 4 hours all I need. In fact, these are the people that get into trouble somewhere down the line, 10, 15 years. And one other observation is that because we are sleeping, we don't know we need to sleep. Because when we are sleeping, we don't realize we need the benefit of the sleep. So we just ignore that part of that, which is 1/3 of our life. But there are lots of studies that show that you need to sleep well. A good quality sleep is 7 hours. Why is this important, sleeping important? Okay, this is a latest study on some of the brain. The brain in the morning fires up, all the neurons fire up, all kind of activity, and during this metabolic process, lots of oxidative stress, there are many accumulated quote-unquote toxin material. And at nighttime, when we are sleeping, guess what? Our brain seems to check to make sure that all the hormones are going to release properly and everything is restored back to normal. But one most important thing that just recently that we find out, the brain shrinks, okay? And CSF, we call them cerebrospinal fluid, wash through this brain and wash all the debris and carry away from all these neurons. And that's how you refresh your brain. And you have to have 7 hours sleep in order for your brain to have this washing cycle properly. Okay, so you can call this a washing machine cycle. If the brain needs to be washed once every night, and 7 hours of sleep will be ensure that you flush all the toxin away from your brain, or a better word, not toxin but dirt. When you don't have this washing cycle, you end up having medical problems. Short term, you have memory. You don't remember what they were taught to you yesterday, and thinking kind of short circuit itself. You keep repeating the same thing over again, and some people get irritable, emotional outbursts like that. On the long term, the brain ages faster, and that's the beginning of Alzheimer's. So to me, anybody who say that I don't need any sleep, I need only 4 hours sleep a day, 3 hours sleep a day, they will develop Alzheimer-like symptom 30 years down the line. So, two examples I would give would be President Reagan. Don't need very much sleep, and you know what happened to him. Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister of England, don't need very much of sleep. And they all at the end develop Alzheimer's. There are many things too, sleep and emotion. That's too many things. I mean, there are some people who are so fixated about sleep. Like if you ever remember Michael Jackson, they would do all type of things to ask a doctor to put them under anesthesia to have the 8 hours of sleep because their brain cannot sleep. So we need to put more emphasis on how we sleep. And when you don't get enough sleep is when you trigger many medical and mental problems. So here we already talked about depression and bipolar disease and schizophrenia, and also aging purpose. Okay, if you don't sleep enough, you age much faster. Just like I talk about stress and aging, sleep and aging are also kind of interrelated. One thing you can think about this way: when you don't sleep enough, your brain is under tremendous amount of stress. And this stress causes the brain to have chronic inflammations ongoing. And this chronic inflammation do tremendous amount of damage in the brain without we knowing it. And even chronic inflammation now in the brain are directly related to depressions. Okay? And now we are talking about perhaps we can treat depression through chronic inflammation. By reduction of the chronic inflammation, perhaps the depression will go down. So, like I said before, many women should know beauty sleep. Okay? Sleep and aging are interrelated. If you don't sleep well, you age well. If you sleep well, you have a radiant skin. Okay? And all these are interrelated. The skin also directly related to aging of the skin, is directly related to chronic inflammation of the cell wall of your skin. So lack of sleep, chronic inflammation, and medical disease are related. So if you can take care of your sleep, pay attention to your sleep. We have what we call a sleeping hygiene in medical term. You have to make yourself, prepare yourself at the right amount of time. That's the time to go to sleep. So you're talking about drinking coffee only in the morning, no more caffeinated product at night time. So we don't want to go into a cycle of stimulants in the morning and then sedative at night time to go to sleep. You want only slight amount of stimulants, and by nature, when you get rid of the stimulant, your body are tired and you're ready to go to sleep. So with this problem, then you reduce many of your chronic inflammation, even prevent some disease process. So I have been working with fibromyalgia patients a lot. So a normal patient, to define fibromyalgia is patient who have multiple pain in all parts of their body. In my mind, anyway, fibromyalgia have quite a few tender points in the body that are positive. If a normal person do not sleep for 2 to 3 days, he or she will develop fibromyalgia picture all over the body until she sleep for the 7 hours, and then the pain will go away. So these are all related. So chronic inflammation, sleep, causing medical problem, diabetes and all that, even cardiovascular diseases are all interrelated with this sleep and stress and chronic inflammations. So in that sense, I will recommend people to have good sleeping hygiene, or the term we call them hygiene, actually a good sleeping habit. So everybody should sleep at least 7 hours. You should know when you're traveling, meaning you're disrupting your circadian rhythm, you should restore the rhythm as fast as you can. There are all kinds of ways to do that. Taking melatonin is one way of restoring that. But I always tell my patients, sleeping pills are robbing tomorrow's sleep for today. And someday you have to pay them back. That's the time when you don't sleep very well for at least several days. So think of it this way. Then I will ask people to pay more attention to their sleep, including the sleep environment, the bed, how do I say it? Your bed and how the setup of your bed, so that you will not be disturbed during those 7 hours of restorative sleep.